Hello students, in today's lecture we'll be learning the concept of international management. The term management, as we usually know, is it's not called as national management. When a scope of business crosses national border, its management is called as international management. So in this topic we'll be learning what is international management, what are the characteristics of the international management. Okay, so let us first take a look at the definition. International management deals with maintenance and development of multinational operation across national boundaries or borders, whose manager has the knowledge and skill to manage and handle cross cultural processes, stakeholders, and environment in a right way. Okay, so as you know, that international means crossing your country's borders, right? So international management deals with maintenance and development of multinational operation. These two words are very important: to maintain and to develop the multinational operations. That means continuously you are in international business, where the manager in international management is expected to have the knowledge and skill to manage and handle the cross cultural processes. That means which are the cultures, what kind of a culture is existing in the country where you are undertaking the business, the stakeholders, and the environment in the right way. International business management means here you have to have knowledge as a manager, international manager, or he's also called as global manager, and it is expected that this manager must have knowledge about what kind of culture do exist in another country, how people behave in that country, what are their preferences, likes, dislikes, and what is the nature of internal and external environment in another country, what is the psychology of stakeholders in another country. Okay, so this kind of skill is expected in international management. Okay, I hope the definition is very clear. Now let us move towards the characteristics of international management. Before that, as I said, international management deals with maintenance and development of multinational operation. Now in as like normal management, in international management also planning, organizing, directing, controlling, and all sorts of managerial functions are no doubt involved in international management. Also, utilizing the resources efficiently and effectively for achieving organizational objective is also an integral part of international management. But what is something different and unique about international management is that its operations are across national boundaries. This is the single factor which makes a lot of difference. In different countries, the environment is different. The external environment, for example, economic, social, demographic, political, legal, cultural, market, external, everything, all these factors of external environment are so very different. And most important is that different countries have different cultures, people have different habits, values, lifestyles, attitudes, manners, mode of behavior, buying capacity. All this is different. Managers therefore need the knowledge and skill to handle these cultural cross cultural matters effectively. And the stakeholders on in the international level, that is investors, government, business partners, suppliers, creditors, employees, and customers, are also required to be managed with special knowledge and skill. This is what is required in international management. Now let us just take a look at characteristics of international management, in which the first point is different approaches. Now here there are three different approaches in international management, of which any one or more can be adopted by the management. The first one is ethnocentric approach. In this approach, in foreign country, management uses the same practices and style which is successful in its own home country. That means, with example, I'll explain this point. For example, an Indian company opens its branch in Australia, for example. So, in Australia also, the Indian company is making use of its Indian management practices, which are successful in India itself, in its home country. So, they think that it's quite easy for you to adopt the same practices in another country. Okay, so when business is newly extended in foreign country, this approach may work. And the thinking behind this approach is that you are acquainted with the management practices in your own home country, right? So it would be rather easy for you to adopt the same practices whenever you are doing your business in another country. Okay, so this is called as ethnocentric approach, where in foreign country your management uses the same practices and management style which is successful in your own country. Okay, then second one is polycentric approach. In this approach, management appoints local people in foreign countries. Now, what is local people means? Again, the same example I'll continue with. An Indian company opens its branch in Australia. There itself, you appoint Australian people in your organization. Now, what is the thinking behind it? It is that the intention is to have ideal team belonging to the same country who know about the country's culture and language, work ethics, etc. Naturally, the citizens of that country know very well about their own country, so it would be easy for you to manage those people. And therefore this approach is being adopted by many of the companies, because local people are acquainted with the local practices of their own country. That is the thinking behind it. Okay, then next is geocentric approach. In this approach, management arranges to place best individuals. That means you appoint best people irrespective of their country. Okay, now again the same example, Indian company is opening its branch in Australia. Instead of appointing only Australian people, only Indian people, they appoint those best employees, those best people irrespective of their country. That means one may be from America, other may be from Japan, different countries. Only what is the need of your company is that you just want to appoint best people, talented people. The philosophy is that business problems are same all over the world, and whatever may be the country. Okay, and the competent managers who apply logic and common sense to solve the problems become successful. This is the logic behind it. Okay, therefore this approach is adopted, where they think that business problems are same all over the world. Okay, it doesn't change as per the country. Irrespective of country, they are common. And therefore any person anywhere, even if he goes, if he is using his common sense and logic, if he is applying, then he will be doing his work in a very effective way, isn't it? So this is geocentric approach, where you don't give preference to either local people, neither those people from your home country. Okay, then next is interaction with diverse culture. This is another characteristic of international management. So in international management, it is concerned with diverse culture of from different countries. Okay, so managers cannot deal with different people or different cultures in the same manner. I mean, the way you are dealing with a person from India, you cannot deal in the same way with a person from Japan also. You have to deal him with in a different manner, isn't it? So, because he belongs to a different country, he comes from a different culture, his language is different, his thinking is different, right? So leading or motivating the staff, marketing the product, public relations, everything has to be performed according to the culture of each of the country. You have to think about your diversified workforce. You have to think about your employees who are coming from different country, how to tackle them, how to deal with them, and how to motivate them. So according to the background from which these people are coming, you have to consider that as background. The culture from which they belong, these people, you have to consider that culture as well whenever you are tackling any problem with them, you are interacting with them. Okay, then next is a global perspective on human resource management. The functions of HRM, that is recruiting, training, developing, wage and salary administration, etc. These are required to be performed so as to they are suitable to the economic, legal, and social environment of the concerned countries. Okay, because rules of these different differs from border to border. Okay, when you cross your national boundaries, these rules differ from country to country. So it may be recruitment rules, your processes, training processes, they are different in different countries. Therefore you have to be very cautious whenever you are implementing these functions of HRM, because you have to consider the economic, legal, and social environment of these people whenever you are implementing these functions. Okay, then next point is higher complexity. That means the international environment is very complicated, because you have to deal with different people from different culture. Okay, and the changes taking place in different environment are so different in nature and pace, that you have to diagnose these changes and adapt to them is quite challenging job, isn't it? Because in this higher complicated environment, it's rather difficult for a manager to diagnose the changes and adjust themselves with these changes, isn't it, and make your employees convince that how these changes are necessary for the organization. So you are dealing with a very complicated kind of environment. Okay, then next is greater uncertainty and volatility. The political and economic environment are different in different countries. Competition is also more acute at international level, and therefore the degree of uncertainty and volatility in sales is greater in international management as compared to in your own country, isn't it? So many things you have to go for taking higher risk. The environment is so very complicated. The degree of uncertainty is very high, right? So you don't know what is going to happen in international market, what is the effect of any political or economic environment in the country, and how it is going to affect the international market. So you have to tackle this market very tactfully. And lastly, good strategic decision making. Definitely the success of any international manager depends upon how he takes the timely decisions, prompt decisions, and how he behaves strategically. Okay, so success in international management is dependent upon good strategic management, okay, or good strategic decision making, we can call it as. So what is good strategic decision making? It is selecting the best way to enter foreign market, adopting the proper ethical behavior to suit the particular social environment. So you should have that ability to select the best way, best strategy to deal with the competition existing in the international market. So these are the characteristics of international management. With this, we'll end with today's lecture. Thank you.